What's something that's supposed to be fun but in reality is really stressful? Being the host of a party gathering. OMG, yes. I hosted my first ever Christmas dinner yesterday, and while I chose a simple menu and made a work plan, it was still. Is the water boiling? Do I have enough time to mix this? Which timer is for what? Ag. And then when everyone arrived, Dad, can you slice the ham? Mom, get out of the way. Grandma, stop digging in the drawers, there's a spoon right there. Good times. Dating. Best date I went on was when I sighed, told her how fucking much I hated dating. She sighed and said the same thing. What happened after? They both sighed heavily, looked into each other's eyes with the kind of empty eyes that longingly wait for someone to fill with life, and stood up in unison. Both knew what was coming. They awkwardly shared a hug and walked away, each taking one last glance back at the other, knowing they would never see each other again no matter how much they wanted to. Traveling with another person. There is a reason why one of the better relationship advices is to go on trip for a couple weeks to somewhere farther away with your soul. It tends to show how people behave under stress and how you truly get along. Traveling alone is pretty damn stressful for me. It reminds me of how alone I am. To each his own. I love traveling alone because I'm on my schedule and can see and do the things I want to do, when I want to do it. I quite like being alone. Your wedding. Definitely in the lead up, but my wedding day was, without a doubt, the best day of my life. Yes, there were minor stresses throughout the day, but I was just so happy and had so much fun, I barely noticed them. Making friends. I have social anxiety, and this is a huge deal for me. The idea of friendship and connection seems amazing, but when my fight or flight response kicks in, my heart rate goes up, my muscles clench, and I can't wait to be away from there because it's so physically and mentally uncomfortable, versus just not going out and kicking all my body's systems into overdrive. This hits so hard to home. Word of advice. If you find someone you think you might be good friends with in the future, open up to them about this. When I started to do this, people were so understanding. They'd look out for me. They wouldn't mind if I had to step outside mid-conversation. The silver lining is you've been given a litmus test for arseholes. If they have a problem with your anxiety, then they aren't who you want as a friend. Theme parks. They're expensive as fuck. Often in the middle of nowhere, so a long drive or bus or train ride away. Food inside if often met and seriously overpriced. There are queues for everything. Rides, toilets, food, parking, ticket office. Once went to Alton Towers UK with my GF years ago. Spent about 6 hours queuing for 6 rides and they each lasted around 1 minute. For a lot of people, trying to have a baby, you think sex, which sounds fun, but more people than we realize struggle with this. Ah yes. All the signs are there. We now need to have sex every second day for the next week. What do you mean you aren't in the mood? Don't you want a family? This month or bust. Come on, let's get sexy. Nothing is less arousing. Trying to get pregnant is much less fun than trying to not get pregnant. Being tickled. The thing about tickling is that it makes you laugh regardless of whether you're enjoying it, so the other person thinks you're having a good time and they tickle you more. As an added bonus for me, when I laugh I can't really talk, so I can't tell them to stop. Christmas. Ted, you know James, Christmas can be really stressful. James, yeah, for Rudolph the reindeer? Totally. Ted, what? James, he's got something to prove. Every year he knows that if he fucks up, they'll blame him. They won't say it, but they'll think it. Ted, I guess. But I was talking more from a human perspective. James, oh, from a human perspective. Ted, yeah? James, I know exactly what you mean. Ted, yeah? James, yeah? Like Santa. He was probably stressed as fuck when he staked his entire reputation on a deer. Ted, huh? Well, that's not what I was talking about either. I meant that Christmas is stressful because of all the holiday family drama. James, oh, don't even get me started on the family drama. Ted, you feel it too? James, totally. Ted, how so? James, let me put it this way. Imagine you worked for a company facing financial ruin. Your job's at stake, but you're really hoping your dear beloved son can join the company and help turn it around with the financial know-how he learned at college. But wait, You suddenly realize your son has some really, really wonky ears. So, naturally, you banish him never to be seen again. But wait again. The CEO of your company decides that your son's crazy ears are just what the company needs to steer it into financial health. So now, all of the sudden, your disgraced malformed son is your boss, and you have to stare at his butthole all day long. Ted, it's fucking Rudolph again. I meant it's stressful for me, a-hole, not for a fictional fucking reindeer. I'm trying to open up here, man. James, oh yeah, totally. Sorry, Ted, yeah, I misread that. Stressful for you, got it. Ted, my dad's been drinking a lot, especially during these holiday dinners, and it, James, bothers you that they didn't let him in on any of the reindeer games? I feel it. You just gotta remember that by the end of the song, Rudolph's probably motorboating all the sexy reindeer. A lack of a schedule. Daily structure is absolute key for mental health. As a species, we've never been able to afford not having structure. It really sucks the life out of you. Anything to do with social media. It did more harm than good. Agreed. It's mind-boggling how much social media has affected my mental health, and I know I'm not the only one it's negatively impacting like this. Disneyland with children. Disneyland can be amazing or awful depending on how you plan it. Going in without any plan will leave you stuck in long lines and feeling like you're missing everything. Over-planning will stress everyone in your group out and feel like a constant marathon. Key points are: avoid the busy seasons, so holidays and summer. Learn the fast pass system, especially in the Orlando parks. Try not to go in huge groups. Driving. Car commercials stress this by showing it drive alone in the mountains. Not traffic. Driving probably causes the most anxiety and stress in my life, and I've been doing it for 12 years now. Gets worse every day. New Year's Eve. Since 21, I've settled on small gatherings at home. Events are overpriced, taxis are expensive, people are belligerent, way more than usual amounts of drunk driving, etc. Camping. The bugs. Hauling all the food. Setting up, tearing down. Tent erection. Getting the fire going, keeping the fire going. Rain, sleet, wind. Basically outside. It's all too much. Then, once it's all settled and you're in your tent, fire out, exhausted, smelly, is when you have to pee, in the dark, into the woods, where there be beasts and spiders. Don't die, get back, snuggle down. Start drifting off, thinking of the pretty bits of sky you saw while peeing, and you hear the snap of a twig outside your tent. Fuck that. I found backpacking to be much more my style. Letting go of a lot of camping, luxuries, giant heavy-ass tent, giant heavy-ass cooler full of ice and perishable foods, giant heavy-ass firewood, all the fucking accessories and furniture, etc., made it a lot easier to focus on enjoying the actual outdoors. Bugs? Picaridin repellent lasts all day and works better than DEET. Hauling food? 2 pounds of freeze-dried backpacker meals in a 1-pound bear canister. Setting up? What set up? We out here. Tent? Literally 60 seconds for a decent quality backpacking tent, because it's not trying to be a replacement living room. Fire? What fire? We use a fuel canister that boils water in 90 seconds. We're done early enough to go do our business while it's light out. You don't have to commit to doing multi-day hikes and going full ultralight, but it helps to remember that you don't have to bring 2 SUVs full of bullshit to have an outdoors trip. Monopoly. Fun fact. The game was designed to only be fun for the winners and frustrating for the majority other players to teach us why monopolies are bad. Cooking. Some people have so much fun with it, but it just stresses me out. Taking any kind of holiday. 1. Putting in extra time at work to clear the decks before you leave. 2. Dressed in old clothes like a bum, as you want to take your better clothes away with you. 3. The hassle of making sure everything is organized, rushing around buying last-minute essentials. 4. Clean the house before you go, because nobody wants to come home to filth. 5. Traveling itself, busy roads by car, jammed and unreliable train, long waits and delays at the airport. 6. You take a few days to unwind on arrival. 7. Towards the end you then get the going home blues. 8. Arrive home, go back to work, put in extra time to catch up on things that happened while you were away. Same every time. Chances are you also spent a daft amount of money on this venture. Competitive gaming. Competitive gaming is supposed to be fun. Doing business with your spouse. Just trust me, it's awful. A spouse can be a good husband or wife, but a completely terrible boss. Fights over work often affect your personal relationships. To be honest, playing most video games seriously stresses me out. I can't leave the perfectionist part of me aside even when I'm just trying to have fun. I end up planning out the entire game to get the best ending, or I'll spend literal days building the perfect house or exploring every nook and cranny. Then I just stop playing the game because I miss something I can't return to, or it'll take too long to 100% it, or whatever. Sex. Work parties. Power boating. You're sitting there with your friends, hoping to have a few drinks, enjoy some sun, do some swimming, have a nice time, and you spend the majority of your day holding on for dear life, while trying to keep your hat on your head, your spit from being dragged out of your mouth, and straining to have any sort of communication with anyone else on the boat. You're getting slammed as the boat goes over swells and waves, your drink spilled long ago, you've got a piss, but you can't move from the spot you chose when you first sat down, and because you're getting some spray on you, you're beginning to become a little chilly, because the wind is quickly lowering your body temperature. No thanks. What's something that's as not fun in reality? Leave a comment, and subscribe to the channel if you want to see more videos like this one.